Hey there, thinkers. Welcome back to another episode of Critical Hit. My name is S.
And I'm Pin, and today we're going to be talking about Spider-Man 2. Why are we talking about Spider-Man 2? Because we got a lot to say, of course. So Spider-Man 2 been out for a couple weeks now, and it's done quite well when it comes to sales numbers, so I'm not going to say anything bad about it there. Also, if you haven't tried Spider-Man 2, I want to preface all this with, it is a good game. It's not a terrible game by any stretch of the means. We're just going to hit on something very specific that it does, and we feel it is necessary, let's say, to bring forward into the public opinion and talk about a little bit our feelings on it.
Yes.
So what are we talking about? We're talking about an article from The Gamer to start here that queerness is everywhere in Spider-Man 2. It's by Jade King. Insomniac has crafted a welcoming, inclusive world filled with LGBTQ plus representation.
Well, as much as it can be inclusive, it's tried to pander to every single corner.
Yeah, so again, just to say, it's not everywhere, but if you look for it, yeah, you're going to see it. If you're really looking for it, you will see it, absolutely. But you can probably go around the game, especially if you miss a lot of the side missions in it, and you're probably going to miss quite a bit of the, let's say, inclusion to it. But like I said, didn't want to say it's a bad game. But let's get into the article. Talk about it here by The Gamer and Jade King. Spider-Man 2 is fruity. Insomniac Games featured a smattering of pride flags throughout the first game's Vision of Manhattan. But aside from that, it kept things pretty straight. The sequel, meanwhile, is filled with distinct LGBTQ plus representation everywhere you look. From walls of the street art to smaller side quests, that's what I was talking about, and Peter and Miles can take up to help the local communities. I actually find that it's more Miles, less Peter, but
yeah, I also heard that the Miles gameplay is quite boring.
I wouldn't say that it's boring. It's side quests, I'd say. I wouldn't say him in general is boring. A lot of his side quests, you could probably skip them and you'd be okay. But then again, Peter also has some, I don't want to ruin the game for anyone, it just has some better mechanics to him. Peter and Harry might be straight besties. You'll never stop me from shipping them. What was that even supposed to mean?
What the fuck does that even mean?
But major characters aside, express their queerness in ways that are not only prove surprising, but tie into canon elements of recent big comic developments that even hardcore fans weren't expecting to be acknowledged.
I must know how old this person is.
We can look it up after. Take Black Cat, for instance. Instead of jumping between former hideouts to tease Peter, and the lead up to a heist is playing around with Doctor Strange's belongings to open portals to Paris to reach her girlfriend. I don't think that's a surprise to anyone that's read the comics overall, though, but she is bi in the comics. I mean, she's very risque. She's the Black Cat. I mean, that's what she is.
Yeah, but she used to be morally, ambiguous on the surface, but, fundamentally a good character. She used to be the equivalent of Peter Parker's superhero side, whereas Mary Jane was the equivalent to his human side. She was complementary.
I would actually say that is an incredibly apt way of putting it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's perfect, actually. Yeah, so whenever she was definitely a very good kind of, I don't want to say alter ego, but a very good, yin to Spider-Man's yang.
Yes, and she was very sultry. She was,
Yeah, absolutely. Kind of, I don't even want to say she was a girl boss. That's not the attitude she had. She was more of a femme fatale. Yeah. But again, in the comics, she was already bi, so I don't think that needs to be stressed anymore.
No, it didn't need to be announced and thrown in people's faces.
Honestly, that doesn't even bug me. It doesn't bug me if you want to put some kind of inclusion there, and they've done it for years. Stan Lee was on record saying it a long time ago, that they will absolutely include things they want to include, themes of the day, absolutely. But he always said you could include that as long as you told an amazing story first.
Exactly.
And then you put something in there as a side note second.
Because I don't want to think, oh yeah, Black Cat. Oh yeah, she's bi. No, I want to think Black Cat, she's amazing. She's kick-ass. She beats a whole bunch of people.
Well, and I do think that. And this is where the line has to be for me. So you have to be more than your sexuality. You have to be more than your gender. You have to be more than your race, of course. You have to be your own person. And when you are broken down to that one part of it, very secular part, such as I'm bi. If that's the most important thing about you, I think you're going about things wrong. I think that you've done things wrong, and I think you're promoting yourself in the wrong way, because there's got to be more to you than just your sex.
It can't be the forefront.
Yeah, in anyone's mind. But, so this is them saying they've included pride everywhere in Spider-Man 2. Is Spider-Man 2 overly inclusive? I think that it's a good game, but the problem I have with it is it's like they do tell a good story, and then they have these aspects to it additionally. But it feels like it's just so much all over the place, especially if you're looking for it, that it really just feels like they're pandering there. And this is what leads me to my next point. We're gonna go. So this, of course, Westerners love it. Of course,
oh yeah.
Not all Westerners, but of course,
some
wokesters love it. And as you can see, the gamer is making that loud and clear. And I don't know why Insomniac is doing this. Maybe they're doing it for ESG. Maybe they're doing it because they want to.
Well, no, that's what you do. You follow the money. If you want to sell to Western gamers, you have to pander to the Western economy or the Western culture.
Well, that's a good point. And so that leads us into my next one here. So, do they follow the money? Well, they pandered to this way in the West Coast, or I should say, they've pandered this way to the Western societies. And obviously there's ESG involved. We know that. Diversity, equity, inclusion, which gives you a lot more credit towards bank.
Though? Like, that seems like a lot.
So, like I said, it is, if you look for it, it is everywhere. But if you're not looking for it, it doesn't impact the story that much. Having said that, though, there are some side missions that get a little carried away. I don't want to spoil it for anyone. Play it yourself. And if you really want to enjoy the game, just stick to the main story. But it leads me to my next point here. So Spider-Man 2, the Middle East version, has removed all LGBTQ dialogues, side missions, and all gender spectrum flags. So I wonder why you would do that if that was such an important message to you.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't have no idea what LGBT dialogue has to do with anything about Spider-Man.
Well, the big thing here is if it's so important to you to include it and you're not just pandering, why have you taken it out of the Middle East version? I mean, there's only one reason I can see, of course, and that's to make money. And there's nothing wrong with making money, mind you. Nothing wrong at all. But why are you pandering so hard to this audience? Also, if anyone knows where I can get my hands on a Middle Eastern version of that,
yeah, seriously, because this only shows me that this did not need to be included at all. It's just an easy function that you can click off. And if that's an easy function, can you give me that ability to just remove it in my settings?
Oh, you mean like a mod that does that?
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure there's some websites out there.
And then actually have the national flags instead of the...
So there's a controversy about removing pride flags in the first one, of course, and I'm having trouble thinking of the gaming website at the moment. Down the mod. But anyways, they said, no, we're not allowing this, but it's amazing. And now, don't get me wrong. Anyone that makes a game, of course, should be able to do whatever they want. But it's amazing that if a mod was made to do the same thing, a website wouldn't allow it to be up. This gaming website I'm thinking of, because they did it for the first one.
Yep.
And this pandering is just getting to be too much. So this, of course, is from MMA Underground, and they do talk about how that essentially everything was removed. So Saudi Arabia also banned the recent Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse movie for its inclusion of a trans flag, as well as Final Fantasy XVI for having a gay character. And of course, Insomniac Games releasing this under the Sony branch as well. So Sony's learned a lesson here, and they're saying, we want to make money. Now, there's nothing wrong with wanting to make money. I'm just saying that if the message is so important, why not include it? That's the crazy thing. Obviously, money's more important. And all I want to say is, if money's that important to them, maybe if they get less... I'm not saying don't buy it. It is a good game. But all I'm saying is maybe our wallets drive the market more than we think it does. We can't prove that they're doing it for ESG, and maybe they're not doing it. Maybe it is for that strong message, but they were definitely willing to get rid of that strong message for the Middle East.
Easy peasy, right?
Yeah, so this was the official statement put out. This is from Niche Gamer. The official statement put out saying... now the game is suitable for all ages 16 and above. And there was also another thing that they did. They tried to be so inclusive in Spider-Man 2 with the Latinx, they called it, the Latinx language.
Oh my gosh.
That I don't speak Spanish. I don't speak but I've heard that it's so it just doesn't make any sense.
No.
They tried to be so inclusive with the language. It's grammatically incorrect.
No,
it doesn't make any
so
sense
bad.
when you speak it. And this is just crazy. You're missing all common sense when you do these things now.
You're not even trying. You're just well, it sounds like it, so it should work.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong. As a company, you have to bend to what your market is. Absolutely. If your market is all these wokesters, if it is that, and they say they demand this of you, and that's how you're going to make your money, I mean, that's the free market speaking. You have to. But the problem is, I don't think that's what the free market's saying. And in fact, if anything, I think this pandering is only hurting you in sales, not helping you. Because as we saw with every woke movie coming out of Marvel, you're certainly not doing better with those criteria. And it's not that people don't even have the money, even though, of course, recession does look like it's on the horizon still. But it's not even that people don't have the money right now.
People will always buy a good game.
People will always pay for things they deem worth it. Now, in this case, they've deemed Spider-Man worth it. And I agree, it is a good game. But if anything, I think this hurts the brand. I think this hurts Sony. I think this hurts Insomniac Games. Because now when Insomniac Games releases something, I'm going to look at it and say, is it going to tell a good story? Is it going to really pander this? Because, judging by the graph here, if I had to put how much they did in the first one into the second one, how bad is the third one going to be, or the next game they make?
Well, the thing is, if there's a Spider-Man 3 that comes out, there's going to be a whole bunch of people who buy it still. They're still going to be fueling this promotion.
I don't want to spoil it for anyone, but the next one might be a Miles Morales
Oh
one.
my gosh.
I refuse to call it Spider-Man 3.
Well, they're trying to make Morales be Spider-Man. He's his own person.
Now, he does take a ton of traits, character arcs, let's say, from Peter Parker, some of the same character arcs he has in his comics. But overall, I think they did a pretty good job. I just think they have to do a little bit better with trying to give him his own bad guys and trying to give him his own themes outside of Spider-Man's shadow. Now, just to replace him like they're trying to really do it in some of the latest things, including this game, I think is the wrong approach. I think you just make his own game, make his own villains, and he'll be fine. And honestly, I think the game's better. I think the game's better if you just skip probably. I don't want to say all the side quests. Probably Miles' side quests. Skip all
Stick to
them.
the main story.
And it will just be better. You'll be better off. The more inclusive you get, the less inclusive you really end up being. Because we used to segregate people. We used to tell people they had to, no, this bus was for you. This job was for you. This side of the class was for you. Whatever it was, we used to segregate people. And we started to, get away from that tribalism attitude. We started to become more of a one people, which was a pretty fantastic. And nationalism actually thrived. And I don't want to make this about politics here, but I think that losing that nationalism, going back really to tribalism, has been just a downfall of human society. You did a video just the other day about voice actors and about how you have to be this, Asian to play Asian voices, white to play white voices. And that's not what we should be doing. We should be looking at ourselves as
even
actually
then,
diverse.
Everybody wants to be their own special victim class.
And everyone's special, no one is.
Yep.
But you know what the good part is? I'm pretty sure all these special interest groups are tearing themselves apart. That's not even a fight for us to fight.
Yeah, I know.
That's for them. They're gonna kill themselves over who's the most special, who gets the most rights.
It's like the Victim Olympics, is what it's called.
Victim mentality has evolved. But anyways, that's what I want to talk about Spider-Man 2. Like I said, I don't want to say don't play it. I don't want to do a review of the game per se. But like I said, you might enjoy it. If you disagree with me, let me know. But those are my thoughts on this video. And like I said, Spider-Man 2, pandering to the Pandaverse, like South Park. One step ahead. Anyways, that's all I got. You got anything else?
And no, I have nothing else to say.
Thanks for sticking with us till this point. Leave us a comment down below if you agree. If you disagree, let me know your thoughts.
Absolutely. And please don't forget to like and subscribe. All right. See you guys in the next video. Toodles!
Bye, guys.